It's Gypsy Man, and I finally figured it out. I finally figured out how to put the Delta Point Pro on my EDC slash training gun, which is the G45. And it took me a while to figure it out because the difficulty in putting the Leopold on the Glock is that you have to use a plate. And the plate makes the already thick Delta Point Pro sit up higher. And you got to find the correct front sight that will co-witness with a Leopold solution, which is their rear sight, which is actually really nice. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I'll tell you right now that you're going to need a 10 millimeter front sight in order for this to work. Okay, if you want to have backup sights. So, it took me a while, and I always wanted to do it because, doing competition, you start to get used to having a big window. And it just makes sense to me that, I want all my guns to feel the same to me. And all my guns have a large window. And before, the ones that I train with and I compete with. So before I was using the Hollow Point SCS, which is still here on my wife's gun. And, the dot is a good dot. There's nothing wrong with it other than for me. And, I got spoiled. I like large dots on my guns now. So I decided to take that off. But the benefit of having SCS is that it co-witnesses perfectly because it's specifically designed for the platform that you put it on. So we're moving away from that. Getting used to the Hollow Sun 507 comp is what I use on all my competition guns. Well, both of my competition guns. So you get used to having that large window. In comparing the two, the Leopold Delta Point Pro and the Hollow Sun comp, 507 comp, is that I like the green dot for competition. It just picks up faster for me. And the Leopold is a red dot, which I don't have a problem with because I have red dots on my rifle. So red, green. Green is better for me for the pickup. Red, I can shoot it just as good. It just, for me, maybe it's in my head, but green just picks up better for me in my eye. So that's the reason why I moved to wanting a bigger dot on my EDC. I wish I could put a mag rail on my EDC, but it's going to print. But I would love to have one. This is also my my gun that I have closest to me in the bedroom. So that's why you have a light on it. I normally would not have lights on any of my guns, but only because this is my, I don't want to call it a nightstand gun because I don't keep it on a nightstand. But it's close enough for me to get to very quickly. So the interesting thing about this is while figuring this out, you had to get a rear sight for it. Or run one without a rear sight and a front sight, but I like having backup sights. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't get inside the window, and it has a large window. The only disadvantage this Delta Point has compared to the 507 comp is that you have to hold the button down to go up and down in brightness, whereas the 507 comp has a plus or minus button, which is very convenient. When I first bought my staccato, I bought the Delta Point Pro on there because it's a direct cut slide for this. And it sits low. And, it's a good dot. But I went to a competition with it, and I just felt like it was getting lost in translation because I did a steel challenge. And one of a few of the courses had red stop plates, and I would lose the dot in the red stop plate. So I knew I had to go back to a green for the staccato. So I just took this off. Had this sitting around for a while. And I really felt like it was a waste just sitting around because it's not a bad dot. It's not a bad dot. And I really wanted to use it. And I wasn't going to waste it by putting it on a shotgun or AR because I don't like shooting shotgun, even though I have one. And I don't shoot my AR enough. And I like shooting at distance. So I had to figure out how to do this, and I tried it. This came with a front sight and a rear sight, what you see here. But the rear sight came up short when it came to the height. then I found that Leopold makes a rear sight, and it's costly, but it's nice because it's smooth. You can adjust the windage. You adjust the elevation with a set screw, but I just have it sitting down flush on the back, which for me aesthetically it is not a distraction. And also this is 10 millimeters, so this sits at about 8 to 9 millimeters up front. This one sits up about 10, so I can see the colored dot and the tritium fine, and I just see it. I'm not gonna call it a third co-witness, but you can definitely use. They're usable for sure. The sight using this rear sight. The only thing is the notch in the rear sight is narrow, and it perfectly fills that gap with the front sight, so it lines up pretty quickly, but you don't have a lot of wiggle room. But with a red over a dot on there, you're not going to pretty much use it anyway. It's just a backup, so use it as a backup. But I like how smooth it is to select the windage and things like that. It clicks. I like that. Very audible, just like the Delta Point dot. The clicks are very audible, very simple, and it's built very nicely. So I finally got my Delta Point Pro back in action, and I'll be using this a lot more. I just usually, when I go to the range, I'll use practicing my competition, using my competition pistols. But I think I'm gonna do a little bit more work with my EDC. So I'm happy about this. Finally figured it out. And if you're looking to do the same thing, I didn't see many videos on YouTube about this, but you have to buy these separate. I just jumped on Amazon, bought the rear sight, had the Delta Point Pro. Buy probably the 7 times, but these are Ameriglow. See what 7 times height is for the front sight. Go into the specifications on Ameriglow and find out how high the front sight has to be. I'm telling you right now, it has to be at least 10 millimeters in order to work with this setup. The plate is a CH Precision, and the fitment is great, no light. It's just really good. It's solid. So we're back in action. So I just wanted to make that quick update on my G45 EDC / training gun. All right, Gypsy Man, I'm out.